the relationship that you deserve, yeah? Regardless of your current circumstances or your previous experiences. So we are here, talk to us, if you have any challenges, to do with dating and romance, yeah, we're here for you. So previously, we did have a program where we were going into the men's club, and we did go there, I did. And one of the key things that came out from that program is that men, because they were sharing with us what they really think about dating, romance, sex, and commitment, and general relationships, key from that discussion was that men desire or are more gravitated towards women who have boundaries or standards. And so today we are going to be talking about boundaries. What are boundaries? Why boundaries are important, especially in dating and romance, and we'll also look at how to set boundaries, healthy boundaries. Yeah? So stay tuned. Like I said, we're discussing boundaries, and with me in the studio, I have Lady Tracy. Lady Tracy is welcome once again to Just the Way You Are Girl. She was here previously, and wow, I love her the way she thinks. Really, she's a very brilliant young lady, and she will tell you more about herself. But also we also joined with Fendo. Yeah, Fendo. It's such a unique name. I'm hearing it for the first time. But Fendo is also here, and yes, for us to talk about this big thing called boundaries. So Tracy, please say hello to our guests and maybe tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hello everyone, this is Lady Tracy. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Once again, I am here again, and we are going to discuss everything about being just the way you are, girl, who you are, how you can be, how you can maintain yourself, and I think I shouldn't talk more about myself. With time, you're going to get to know me through these various conversations and everything else.
Yeah, so welcome, Lady Tracy. Yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Frendo. I'm glad to be on the show. I'll be happy to engage with the rest of you.
Yeah, so Tracy and Fendo, welcome. Okay, let's dive in straight away. When we talk about boundaries, or when you hear boundaries, what do you think? What are boundaries?
Boundaries, I think it depends on an individual perspective, because each and everyone will define the word differently. And English being a dynamic language, I think everyone will have a different definition of the term. But personally, I think boundaries are, setting a certain behavior that you think is acceptable or not acceptable in a relationship, emotionally, physically, and any other aspects regarding the relationship.
True. Okay, so that is Fendo's definition of boundaries. Yeah. Lady Tracy, what do you think? What are boundaries, especially as a lady?
Me, a boundary is something I know that it's a routine I follow, something that these are rules I set, a fence I build up doing. I cannot, it's a deal breaker when I meet someone, or if someone goes against it or tries to cross that fence, it's not going to work out. Nothing is just going to, it's not going to be right with me. I am going to tell it off to you or do something else or walk away. That's just what a boundary is to me, something that keeps me safe this side. I can't just deal with anyone who doesn't just go about that boundary. Someone tries to cross it in a weird way or negative or any other way, there is no way we're going to work out.
Okay, thank you, Lady Tracy. She says boundaries to her are a deal breaker. Yeah, actually, there is this piece of comment I was reading, and this person was saying that you treat people how to love you. So sorry, you show people how to treat you and how to love you by what you accept, what you stop, and what you keep encouraging or reinforcing. Yeah, and that is the thing about boundaries, really. Yeah. So why are boundaries important? Why should there be boundaries? Why do you think we need boundaries? And especially in the aspect of dating and romantic relationships, why should there be boundaries? How do they help?
We come from different walks of life. When two people meet, they are not. They have met from different parts of life. I mean, I come from the other side of life. You come from the other side.
Yeah.
So for us to actually be able to come together and have something that is actually going to work out, we need to know how we are going to how we're going to carry on the relationship. What is acceptable, what is unacceptable. Can we carry on with this? This is how I do this. Can we go on with this or not? So I think it is more of a relationship regulator. Seems a little bit strict, but yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah. I think I agree with you so much. I've always said on this program that life is a game.
Yeah.
With boundaries, with the rules. Yeah. And so when you talk about that, boundaries being a regulator, it's really, to guide on how this game should be played. Yeah, because dating and romance, even if, many times we don't want to admit it, but it's part of life and it's also a game. Yeah,
it's
yeah. So really, boundaries help in that aspect to know how to play the game. Yes, Lady Tracy, why do you think women and girls should have boundaries, especially in romantic relationships?
I think boundaries are healthy in a way that we are both human beings and we have come together because we have a mutual attraction for each other or not. But then at the end of the day, we have to realize that as a person, you found me, I am an individual. You have to learn to respect me. So these boundaries are there to at least keep you in check, keep me in check, to know that, you know what, I'm a person, you're a person, so if we want to coexist, we want to live life, we want to do this together, we'll have to go through this, we'll have to do this, and we'll have to be like this. So it just makes us coexist and also realize that we are humans and we have to respect ourselves, the fundamental rights, everything else.
Yeah, that's really true. And the thing also about relationships is that relationships are basically about meeting each other's needs. You have a need, the other person also has a need. Actually, the whole relating aspect, is you're either meeting needs of somebody or getting your needs met. And I think boundaries come in there very, very handy, because as a woman, women, we differ, but every one of us has things that are pertinent to them. They have their own desires, they have their dreams as well, which are linked to to her. It's a big deal. It's a need. We come from different backgrounds, so even in terms of our social training, in terms of our opinions and worldview, because boundaries are formed out of that. Boundaries are formed so much from our beliefs, our opinions, our attitudes, our past experiences, depending on where this the life circumstances that this person has been through. If they are kind of person, maybe for example, very many times young ladies when they're starting, for example, they here and there they get into toxic relationships, and you learn from there, because that is the school of life. So I think this comes in handy, the boundaries, because you are coming on board with a specific set of needs, which are being informed by your upbringing, your experiences, your worldview, and your, generally, environment in which you grow. And so I think it's very important because the other person as well will have their desires. Yeah? So boundaries, I think, make the two now. Yeah, and it's like the what do they call that line where the middle ground?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can call it
the
the middle ground.
Yes, yeah. You know, to make sure that you harmonize both sides. Yeah. So yes, boundaries are very important. And ladies, thank you. I see many of our listeners are, yes, they're already on board listening. Thank you very much for listening. And I would like to encourage you to please send your questions, send your comments on what you think about, this topic on boundaries and why boundaries are important. Yeah. So, Lady Tracy, maybe let's try to look at what is the challenge with setting boundaries, because we've seen boundaries are good. Yeah. Boundaries are like, the guide, like Fendo said. Yeah. They kind of guide us on how to relate with each other. But what is the challenge? And especially for ladies, Fred, I want you to very much. I would like you to come in here and give, the male's perspective. Yeah, what do you think is, the challenge, or what are some of those things that ladies really overlook when as far as boundaries are concerned? But first, what is the issue? Why, where are women finding the problem?
Let me see. I think there are those who set boundaries basing on self-esteem. So if your self-esteem is low, you're going to set low boundaries because you judge your beauty and character basing on how people perceive you and how you want to be looked at. So you're going to set your standards low.
Sure.
So when your standards are low, you're going to attract different kind of people, a lot of people, and you'll be unhappy. But then because you want a lot of people to appreciate you, to compliment you, to do all that, so at the end of the day, you're very unhappy, but you have all these people after you in your inbox everywhere, but they are not even what you wanted in the first place. Then also on the matter of self-esteem, there are those who are too confident. Too much. Okay. You know you're beautiful, you know you have that body, you know you're okay. You everywhere is actually okay, that English is good, you're educated, so you set your standards up. Too high, up to the extent that you get lonely up there. You yourself, yeah, it's true, you get so lonely, you have all these expectations, all these guidelines, all these boundaries, all this what? I want this and that, I want this, I expect this from someone, me, I want a man who is like this. Some even go ahead to be like, me, I want a man with a deep voice. If he doesn't have that, he can't go in my circle, I can't even associate with that. And you're like, is that even a boundary? Yeah, it is. So you set it so far high up to the extent that you're lonely and you're not attracting the kind of people you want. At the end of the day, you have no one in your life. Years are going, we are women. Years are going, very soon you're there, your mates are, you're attending wedding meetings. After wedding meetings, you're still young. At first it's exciting. Until actually you are alone.
True.
You've spent all your money in wedding meetings.
Yeah.
You've spent all your money buying clothes for Kasikis and company, and you're still alone because your boundaries are too high up there. Then also, sometimes us girls, we have to learn to be independent. I think we set boundaries depending on what we see from our parents.
Yes.
Our mom got this kind of a man, so I think I want this because my mom would appreciate. You start setting boundaries because you think your family is going to actually be okay with that. You're setting boundaries not because of you, but because of how you see your family is going to welcome that kind of boyfriend you want. Or sometimes you set them because your friends set them the other side. So you also start setting them, thinking you're going to actually make it in that relationship, yet you're not. And secondly, I think we also meet a problem of uptight men. You set your boundaries, but someone is like, no, for you, a feminist. Yeah, I don't like feminists. You're like, but this is how I be, this is how I am. I want to be like this, and I expect this and this behavior from you.
Yes.
Now, me as lady, I don't like inconsistent men. If you come in, tell me what you want. when we are going to do this, your plans, everything. Do not come today and you keep me hanging there in the clouds.
Yeah.
As if anytime you're going to rain, at the end of the day, you don't rain. I don't like it. Tell me this, we stick to that. Tomorrow, if we have changed plans, you tell me, you inform me, I get prepared. I don't want this today, but this and that, let's do it like this. I come in, and then again you change. You're just there, you're floating cloud. You're not sure where exactly you're going to pour. Me, I don't like inconsistent men. I don't like them. And when you come out with your voice, you try to talk, someone is going to say, you are for your feminist.
I like that, Lady Tracy, and I think that, as you're, saying that, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we look at also the advantages, yeah? Maybe later we'll look at the advantages of having boundaries, yeah? Because, it gives comfort to the woman to really stick to, her boundaries,
Yes,
yeah?
it does.
Without fearing of being called a feminist, yeah? So I think ladies need to know that there are actually big benefits, yeah, of having boundaries. At the end of the day, they actually protect you as a woman. So people will say many things, yeah, and I know one of the challenges that we have as women is because of when we try to step out for ourselves, to be clear about what we want, we receive a lot of ridicule, and the feedback is not good, yeah, because it's like they're now she's not being arrogant, she's being very principled, yeah,
She's proud.
but know that all that actually is meant to get you to back off, yeah. They're trying to soften you, yeah, especially men. These men are very tricky. Yes, all these things are coming from men, yeah. I can give you an example. This term that they have labeled of gold digger, yeah, where somehow men started, they actually it's a deliberate crafted move to prevent women from asking or requiring them to men to be able to financially support, or even to be a financial accommodating, yeah. So they come up with such terminologies, yeah, to try and discourage women, to rightfully really require them to do what they're supposed to do, which is providing, in every aspect. You taking me out for a date, you should be able to pay for a movie, for ice cream, for anything, yeah. But I think at some point they felt like they were maybe being played, and so they came up with that term, and it was very highly publicized, media, where in songs, and because of that, women start backing off, yeah. So I really hear you when you say, you try to put your boundaries out there, and then you're labeled to be a feminist, yeah. Those are really things to try and discuss. But ladies, know that believe, have confidence in what you believe in, yeah, and regardless of what, stand for those boundaries, yeah, because at least know that God is on your side. If everybody else is thinking you are this or that, at least know that God is with you. Yes. So Tracy, you bring up very important points, yeah. Low self-esteem really is a big issue when it comes to women, challenging when it comes to women setting their boundaries, because psychologically, whatever you think is the way you act, yeah. So if you think so little about yourself, then even in your actions, you feel very low, you have that low self-worth.
Deserving.
Yes. So you don't actually feel deserving, and because of that, you can't even communicate your standards, because you even don't know you yourself. You don't feel you're worthy anything. So really it becomes a challenge to communicate your standards. Yeah. Yes. So yes, that's a big challenge. The expectations. I think we need really to see how to be realistic. Yeah. In setting boundaries. Yeah. So those are very great points, and I would like to hear from Benyo before we take a break, yeah, to tell us what do you see as the main challenge, and also maybe what do you see as the advantages of women having boundaries.
Well, boundaries can be likened to standards, or if anything, can also be called standards. by different people depending on how they describe it. But the challenge that exists with some ladies or women setting boundaries is sometimes you want to copy and paste. I mean, what you saw in Grace and John's relationship, you are called Chelsea, you want to put in Chelsea and Matt's relationship. The thing is, there is not a rule book on how to have a perfect relationship. I mean, each relationship has its own dynamics.
Yes.
So, what worked for relationship X will not work for relationship Y. So, you need to know who you are with. I mean, set boundaries according to the person you are with.
Yeah.
And not for who they have the potential to be, but for who they are at that particular time. Set those boundaries right there. Just have those. And so you can know. But also you need to know how you are setting them, because sometimes some ladies' boundaries are more like rules. Because let me give an example. Someone will set boundaries like some people could be too envious.
Yeah.
Maybe I need you home by 7 p.m. each and every day. I mean, that's very unrealistic. I probably have work. I have a life outside the relationship. I mean, I've got other commitments. You are mine. I'm not really going to go anywhere, but I can't really be home by 7 p.m. each and every day. That's a very unrealistic boundary. The other challenge there is
but hold on. I think it depends. Really. To you, it might be unrealistic.
Yes.
But to this lady, that is a requirement for her.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you see that the issue with boundaries, it also helps you especially when you communicate them very early during dating.
Yeah.
It helps you to really check if you're on the same page with this person.
Yes.
Yeah, does this person really fit in the kind of person I want? So I think for ladies, I think it's okay. It might be, like you said, the dynamics differ. It might not be realistic to you, but for a lady, and I usually tell when we are having discussions with Lady Tracy, I usually tell Lady Tracy that it's important for women to actually experiment some of the things, throw things out there and see actually the kind of response you get. So yeah, so.
No, but you see, here's the problem. Here's the problem with experimenting.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep throwing tests around of, let me see if you'll pass this on. That's have a thing of, let me not talk to him for a couple of days and see if he'll reach out. Those experiments are very, 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 very dangerous. Actually, you could go a couple of days without talking to me, and next thing you know, gone.
But why don't you talk?
And
You were you talking?
No. You see, the thing is, a relationship. But before we get into any relationship, this is something that should be known. We are not living in the 80s or in the medieval age. Currently, we are in I don't really know what I can call it right now, but we are in a more modern state. So a relationship is a two-way street. Let us share this effort. I mean, if I give you, it is a give and take, two-way street. So reciprocate what I give you. If I have gone 2 days without talking to you, should you really wait for my phone call? Can't you pick up the phone and find out why haven't you at least got back to me? Then you have to sit and then wait after maybe the third day. When I call you is now when you actually. So why did you call me the other 2 days? What are you doing to pick up the phone and actually reach out to me? You see?
I think they shouldn't be asking why did you call me?
I know,
Just receive the call and start. You go on with the talk.
They always do. So then the other challenge with boundaries is, I was having this same discussion with a friend I think yesterday. He said that sometimes boundaries hinder transparency, because someone could set boundaries on, now for example, the one I've given of 7 p.m. I mean, I'm going to end up sneaking out of the house probably at night, or I could lie that I caught up at work. I mean, a lot of things can come up. The best that could hinder transparency is boundaries on phones. Yes, it is important to respect someone's privacy, but then sometimes I think the restriction also needs to have a limit, a restricted kind of restriction, so that it is not as much, it is not very strict, but somewhere, so that there will not be room for hiding any kind of queer thing that could come up. Okay. So that's there is a challenge. Copy and paste. I mean, know who you are with. Set boundaries depending on that person, not for who they potentially can be, but for that person, and don't copy and paste.
Okay, just the way you are, girl. It's getting hot in here. So we will be back after this break. Please, I'll leave you with "Easy Baby" by Onesimus, and I hope that it blesses you. Lady Tracy and wow, you should listen to the debate going on. It's really heated between Fendo and Lady Tracy. So yes, take it easy. Okay, welcome back. This is Just the Way You Are Girl, with Teacher Grace, and we are discussing boundaries and why boundaries are important. Fendo had a very great point he was putting forward here during the break. Would you like to share with our listeners?
No, actually, the point was boundaries are meant to create your comfort zone, but at the same time to allow you to leave your comfort zone just a little, so you can stretch out a little and meet the other person halfway. I mean, it works both ways. I cannot leave my comfort zone all the way to yours. If I'm going to leave my comfort zone, you're going to have to do the same. Because if I simply label it as a comfort zone is actually a red flag. If I'm stretching out of mine and you're lounging in yours, like nothing is happening, it is really a red flag. So I think while the boundaries are being set, you need to leave room for adjustment to be able to leave just a little, so you can at least meet someone halfway.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What do you think, Lady Tracy?
Mama girls there. Me, I'm telling you. As girls, you should be able to set that boundary. So that when he comes in, he is attracted to you physically or by your words, your intellect, your smile, anything. By the time he comes in, you set your boundaries. If he is able to actually adjust, actually he's okay with them, and he also brings, because boundaries is a two-way street. You as a girl, you have yours. As a man, he's also going to come with this. Is like, me, I don't entertain cheating, I don't entertain this, I don't like long stuff. You're like, it's okay. You see? Stretching. So when he comes in and he says, no, you're too strict, let him walk away. Let him go. You girl out there with a low self-esteem, if he comes in and he cannot abide by your boundaries, let him go. He is not the one for you. Someone else can adjust and actually stay in your life, and you'll be worth it. Because in between there, when you get to love, you'll actually learn to adjust and maybe, readjust your own boundaries. If they were too strict, you were dating, you were free, you were still mingling. But now that you've settled down with him and he's the it guy, and you're like, yeah, let me relax a bit, because now I trust him, I respect him, I know he cannot do this, he does that at this time, I know he is there. Here, yeah, that's when you can be like, it's okay. This is how it is, this is how we do it, now this is our relationship, this is how it goes. But boundaries are meant to sieve out the fake guys, the crooks, the cheats.
I don't believe in boundaries being the same, because I could meet you today, tonight, you give me your boundaries, I can clearly act up to them until I have you, and then drop them shortly, immediately we are in. It doesn't really work like that. Also, I mean, if I'm to ask, tell us, love someone for who they are, but at the moment, based on what she's saying, looks like boundaries are more of a facade. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation of the word, a facade over, let me call it a mask in simpler terms. It's more of a something just put on top, and then when I get inside, when I get past that, there's actually a lot more. The softer person that the boundaries actually don't really apply. So are they there? And also, when you love someone, I mean, what are boundaries? Do they really matter?
I think they do.
Exactly. No, because I'm asking.
I think they do.
Reason being, one, boundaries seem a bit contradictory as well. The Bible, somewhere in Corinthians, tells us love is patient, love is kind, love is forgiving. It doesn't keep record of the wrongs. It doesn't indulge in evil. All those things. Now, when we come to boundaries, when I break a boundary, that is a wrong, right? So if it happens the second time, you could probably remind me the first time it happened. And that there is love keeping record of the wrong.
And then remind you 77 times.
Exactly.
Like
so a boundary is really there. Do we have them? Do they actually work, or are they more just talk that is just out there?
Yeah, that's a good question, by the way, because yes, where are the boundaries?
Teacher Grace.
Where are they?
Teacher Grace, I think you should give Friendo a definition of boundaries
Yes. Friend, this is the
or
definition.
standards.
Okay, this is according to Wikipedia. Boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissive ways for other people to behave towards them and how they will respond when someone passes their limit. Okay? So that is what boundaries are. And boundaries, from this definition and from even how they are formed, I think boundaries are on the inside. They are things that you cherish dearly. They are your values. So they're more actually on the inside. Yeah. So it's not, they're not something like a checklist from outside. Yeah, no. They are you. That is you. That is, they clearly spell out what is acceptable to you and what is not acceptable. Yeah. And these are things that you're supposed to live out in your day-to-day life, in the way you talk, in the way you conduct yourself, in the way you dress, in the way you, just say the way you respond. For example, you said, to give an example, if this lady, if I'm wrong as a lady, then now I come in to enforce my boundary because it has actually gone beyond a certain limit. Yeah, so boundaries, I want to believe that they are real, and every lady needs to have those boundaries. And the first step is to understand what is your value, what is it that you want. I always encourage people in my coaching practice to actually go and write down what are those things that are dear to you, and what are the things that you would not compromise on. So those will form your boundaries. Things like want, I don't share. It could be things like I don't wait. I mean, because sometimes in dating, someone can take their time waiting. Yeah. So
No. You see,
yeah. So those such kind of things, but like you say, they link people, but at the end of the day, it is your deep desires. What is it that you want to like? What are your dreams? Yeah. So that's.
no, what I'm saying is, this takes me back to when we started. Remember when I said English is a dynamic language?
Yeah.
And the word boundaries itself could differ depending on a person. What is there is not really different from actually what I said. Behavior that is acceptable or not acceptable to someone. So it's there, but I wasn't really questioning. It was just food for thought that I put out there. I mean, it is there. Just think about it. Just think about it. Are they there? It's not bad to set them, but let's have them and set times, because even people have various love languages. So what happens in the case where one's love language is a hindrance to boundaries, or it distorts your boundaries? What do you do? So
But because you see that the beauty with boundaries and why it is important to communicate them early, right from the start, is like she said, it will help you to figure out whether this person is actually compatible to you, that you're on the same page. Yeah. So that's the beauty. The problem is, many times as women, we never communicate most of these boundaries at the start. Yeah.
make that human beings.
Okay, human beings actually, yeah, you're right, because boundaries are not only in dating and romance, but they could actually apply to life, yes, in general. Yeah. One of her boundaries is that she really feels uncomfortable with people who are men who are inconsistent. But you will find that actually that even applies to other aspects of her life. You would find she's the kind of person who, even if it's a boss or a friend, or she really values consistency. Yeah. So boundaries also apply to life. Yeah. So it's very important to communicate them much earlier. Yeah. Because now they determine how you're going to move with this person, but also to keep them and to keep them alive, not to throw them away. Because sometimes when women get they now know somebody, they love them, somehow the boundaries cease now to They start giving excuses for their bad behavior. You know, I think, yeah, I know maybe, yeah, it didn't mean to hurt me. And yet, really, there has been, a limit has been crossed. So I think that's very important, yeah, for us to know that when you adopt these boundaries, know that you're going to run with them all through your life, and so you should actually be ready and willing to stand up, for yourself.
That's why the other point comes in. Set boundaries depending on the person you can be, not on the potential of who you can actually be. There's a difference. I see Grace. How do you see her? She has the potential to be a good wife. But what is she at the moment? Set there, not the potential of what she could be later in the future. That's why it is.
Yeah, but also, boundaries could actually give you an indication of what this person is capable of.
Yes.
Yeah? Or what they're capable of being. By interacting with this person and him telling you, what their do's and don'ts are, and the way you see them carry themselves. And the men, last Sunday they were telling us, they look at that as well. They look at the way the human reasons, what are her standards, her intellect, and then from there they actually determine. They think with this one we shall go very far, but this one, because of the way, they can actually use that a lot. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'm not sure that, speaking for myself, there's more to just standards. But I think let me call them goalposts. They can be shifted depending on the growth. Because in a relationship, I believe when you enter, there's growth that is involved.
Yeah.
So I think in the due course of the relationship, during the growth, the standards, the boundaries will be changed depending on the state in which you are at.
Let me first, what did she say something?
That's what I said earlier. When you set them and the person actually says, I can do with this, your boundaries, he sees them and he's like, yeah, this is the kind of woman for me. So he's going to walk into your life knowing exactly who you are because of the boundaries you set. You're like, I'm this kind of person, I don't do lunch, but I'm okay with dinner. I'm this kind of person, I do decent attires. If you want, it's a boundary. Then someone is like me,
but you don't know why.
that
One of the things actually, but maybe we'll talk about it in the next show. Instead of just expressing, explain, why don't you do this, for example, why? But I'm very curious, why wouldn't someone
sometimes it's health issues. Personally, I don't do lunch, honestly. I do breakfast heavy, and then I do light supper. The lunch I skip it because the breakfast is heavy. So that's how I maintain my diet. So if you as a man, you come in and you look at me and you're like, yeah, I see myself with that kind of a girl, that means our family is going to be this kind of he's going to adjust in between. I'll adjust, I'll not do the lunch, but then because he is someone who likes lunch, I may prepare something light or just do a quick fruit for him tomorrow when we are deep inside it because of now love. Before that, I was like, I don't do lunch at all. I don't do lunch. So he'll try to impress me, he won't even do lunch at all. His lunchtime, he will spend it with his friends because he knows girlfriend doesn't do lunch. But then tomorrow when we are now in a relationship and I feel I love him, the lunch will not be a lot, but then I can adjust. I feel like just like a fruit. I can do a fruit for him. Yeah, once in a while you even eat maybe food, something. Then the others will be like, me, I don't do indecent attires. I don't do indecent attires, and me, I pray from Monday to Sunday. Yeah, so you have to respect that I'm a church woman.
Where do you work?
So let's say you have service on Monday evening, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. So he has to learn that my girl is a church woman. This is her, dressed decently. That is just how it is. He'll respect that. By the time that's how you see you attract even different kind of men. You even find yourself attracting pastors. So
if you're always in the church,
they will be there, youth pastors. They will come in.
So you're going to attract pastors.
So he will come in.
Where else?
They will come in, and with time we will adjust slowly because now we understand ourselves. Because because he stayed. He stayed, and I also stayed. He respects me, I respect him.
Think that I wouldn't really advise you maybe to just stay for the sake of trying to please a woman. If you find that her boundaries really are, you can't manage those boundaries, go find someone. Instead of playing along.
Here's the funny thing. I read a book. I've forgotten what it's called. I read a book about 2 months ago. That thing of men staying. It happens to women as well. And the thing is, you see, men got to have this boundary. Remember, and sometimes they really real. What a boundary is. But there's it's called I think Flimmerous or Glimmerous. I've forgotten. When I remember it, I'll tell you. So it is not yet love, but it is that feeling you could think, I really like this person. And it's called limerence. So you are going to think, maybe Jessie here, I like her, so you're going to be able to overlook everything, all the faults, and she'll have boundaries, but you'll be like, for her, I'll do anything. I mean, if she doesn't want me to go out, I'll stay home. If she doesn't want me to do this, I'll do that, just so you can give it. It can be a hassle actually. Living or going, it's not an easy way through.
Yeah, but I think if you ask me, it takes courage.
Yeah,
I think we need really to be courageous enough to say this does not work.
Love is actually not for the weak.
Yeah, maybe try somewhere else. Yeah, because the way God has created us, yeah, we all know you're not compatible, but there's somebody who is compatible with you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great and hot discussing boundaries this afternoon. And Lady Tracy and Pendle, thank you so much for your thoughts, for your contributions. And yes, we'll be discussing in the next program, looking at some of the types of boundaries, at least the common types of boundaries, and and advising our listeners, especially girls out there. I know one of the challenges of why they keep falling in and out of toxic relationships is because boundaries and they don't know how to set them. So we talked about how you can set healthy boundaries. Go dive deep, into now the practicability of how actually these boundaries can be set, and maybe to show our listeners how you actually can maintain this boundary, because that's another challenge of how do I keep this standard, because for any healthy relationship really there has to be boundaries, and boundaries have to really be respected. Boundaries have to be binding. There's supposed to be some accountability. So we'll be looking at that. So thank you very much. And yes, we have to go now because of time. God bless you all.